Hello, Dan here, and this is the ENFP Reboot, and this is the video that nobody wants to see. Not just because I'm wearing a tank top here, but because I'm going to tell you something that you already know and you don't really want to hear, and that is about the importance of intense exercise and how much the way we use our bodies and getting the right kind of exercise, and the right part is very important, affects our mood, our ability to focus, things like agitation. I'm down here back in Valencia by the beach, about to start my beach volleyball lessons. And I was reminded as I had about a 45-minute bike ride to get here today about how good it feels to be getting some rather intense and also interesting cardiovascular exercise. And also it made me realize that the last couple days where I've been rather unfocused, a little bit agitated, a lot agitated, and not in my best self is probably because I've been neglecting the right type of exercise for about 9 days. Now, let me explain that too, because often when I talk to people about exercise, they will say, I walk a lot, I do a lot of things, I'm kind of active, and that's all very great. I am as well. Probably when I was in Madrid, I was walking 10, 15 kilometers a day easily, at a point lugging around a heavy suitcase. When I work, I usually have a standing desk, so I'm pacing all around. All that stuff is great, and it's definitely going to make you live longer and have a, bit better butts and all that stuff. But it's not what your brain needs. And this is something that I've looked into a lot. The type of exercise that is great for your brain. And it is, without further ado, involving two components. So the first is that it is cardiovascular, meaning you work up a sweat, you're breathing a bit, but not extremely intense. So the ideal is where you can still roughly hold a conversation. It's perhaps not totally perfect, but you can keep up a conversation. It's okay to go harder as well, but the general thing, and this also is quite good for fat loss, is 25 to 30 minutes of cardio where you can still maintain a bit of a conversation. And that means when you're starting out, if you haven't exercised in a while, you'll probably be going a little slow and then pick up the pace after that. But the second part, that's very important, should involve some types of coordination, hand-eye coordination. So sports like tennis, volleyball, yoga to some extent are really good for this because you're involving a lot of complex movements which activate certain parts of your brain, which have been shown that activating those is very good for, say, treating ADHD, which I know no ENFPs think they have ADHD, but of course. And yeah, so that sort of exercise is the best. So if you can combine these two, that is ideal. It's one of the reasons I feel great every time I play volleyball. It's intense cardio as well as good hand-eye coordination, all this sort of thing. So those are the two components, which means if you're going for a run on a treadmill, you're really getting one of the two. Now, it's still better than nothing, but if you can go for that run on like a hiking trail, even on the beach, somewhere that at least has a bit of variety, a little bit of coordination is involved, that's going to be a bit better. And of course, if you can play a sport, I didn't mention things like, basketball, basically any sport where you're moving and coordination is needed is ideal. And that's just like super juice for your brain. The other thing that happens is you get these extra benefits. So when I used to run most mornings in Vancouver, one of the benefits I got is it made me feel good about myself. Number one, I was getting up at 6 a.m., which was impressive for me at the time. So I felt like, hey, I'm the kind of person who gets up early and follows through on what he says he will do. People who were out going to work and saw me running also kind of gave me that look. It had a bit of a reinforcement aspect to it. And I generally just felt kind of good and confident when I was doing it. I'm like, hey, I'm a great guy. I'm the kind of guy who gets up at 6 a.m. and goes for a run even when it's raining. In fact, I noticed I felt Better the days where the weather was horrible. If I went for a run in the sun when everyone else was out, I didn't quite have that same bit of confidence boost as well. And sports have been shown to do that, to improve our confidence, our self-esteem, our self-worth. If you're doing a team sport or any sort of activity, you also get that social contact. Social contact, positive social relationships have been shown to be an extremely effective treatment for ADHD as well. Now, I know all of you don't have ADHD. There are some great ENFPs out there who have a better ability to focus, but anything that helps people with ADHD, I shouldn't say anything, but many of the things that help people with ADHD will also help everyone else. They just perhaps don't need it as much. There are some things that are only specific to people with ADHD that people without it, if they use it as a treatment, will not work. But in the case of positive social relationships, changing your self-image for the better, cardiovascular and coordination-related sports, this is all great for everyone. So if you've been feeling a bit off, even if you are what you would say fit or healthy, you're happy with how you look, consider taking up a sport or some activity. My favorites, I've mentioned beach volleyball, tennis is great, team sports are wonderful, and biking can be really good. I find biking through a city, there's a little element of danger, a little bit of adventure, and some coordination needed to stay alive, so that also is wonderful. I'm gonna go get my brain super juice now, and I will see you tomorrow.